Sometimes the most valuable things don't come in fancy boxes. Today, we're going to reach into a bag, one that's not filled with trinkets, but with something way more precious: stories. We're going to unpack the incredible wisdom in Sudha Murty's Grandma's Bag of Stories.
Yeah, it's not about some dry lecture. It's about that magic of once upon a time. And that's really the heart of what we're talking about today, isn't it? This idea that the biggest life lessons, they often come hidden inside the simplest stories.
So what exactly are we unpacking here? We're diving into Sudha Murty's amazing collection to figure out why these stories, in a world just buzzing with digital noise, still hit so close to home. It's like they tap into this ancient tradition, right? Of passing down wisdom from one person to the next.
And right away, the book just drops you into a scene that feels, well, it feels like home, even if you've never been there. You know that feeling? Summer holidays, long, lazy days, and the best part is just gathering around a grandparent, waiting for them to start a story. That's the core of this whole thing.
And this is so cool because the author herself tells us where this all came from. She says it wasn't about getting a sermon, It was about learning through stories. Her own grandmother didn't give her a list of do's and don'ts. Nope. She passed down wisdom through these unforgettable characters and their crazy situations.
So that really brings us to the big question, right? With all the apps and games and streaming we have, what is it about these simple, old-school stories that makes them so powerful? Well, to figure that out, we're going to look at two completely different tales from Grandma's Bag.
Okay, first up, let's pull out this story called Doctor. And this one, well, it's a bit of a cautionary tale. It's all about how a magical gift can be this incredible blessing, but also a huge test of who you are.
So, the whole thing gets started right away. We meet our main guy, Ravi, who does something really kind. In his village, there's a drought, but he still gives his own water to a thirsty old man. And for this one simple, selfless act, he gets this miraculous gift, a pitcher of water that never runs out and can heal anything.
And here's where you see the story unfold, and it's a bit of a tragic journey. At first, Ravi is a total hero, right? He uses this magic pitcher to heal everybody for free. But then the temptation of money starts to creep in. He starts chasing after wealthy clients, making the poor wait. It all comes to a head when he has to make a choice, and he ignores the very same man who gave him the gift, all for a payday at the palace. And poof, just like that, the magic vanishes.
I mean, look at the difference here. It's just night and day. On one side, you've got Ravi, this selfless, kind guy helping anyone and everyone. And on the other side, a man totally driven by greed. The pitcher was always full and his heart was in the right place, but the second that changed, it became as dry as a bone.
In this quote, this really hits the nail on the head. The old man's words from the beginning, they were both a promise and a warning. See, the magic wasn't really in the water. It was in the kindness behind sharing it. As soon as that kindness was gone, the blessing went with it.
Okay, so let's switch gears and pull out another story. This one teaches a completely different kind of lesson. We're moving away from magic and talking about something we all have inside us, our own cleverness.
Yeah, this story, Kaveri and the Thief, is all about a very human gift: intelligence. We meet Kaveri, a hard-working farmer who might be poor in money, but man, she is rich in wit. A greedy thief decides to target her, and with no magic picture to save the day, she has to rely on one thing and one thing only: her brain.
And this is where it gets really fun. Kaveri basically uses the thief's own greed against him. It's brilliant. First, she makes up a story about buried treasure to trick him into digging up her entire field for free. Then, she gets him to knock down her old, crumbling house by telling him there are jewels in the walls. And for the grand finale, she sends him off into the forest on a wild goose chase that, let's be honest, he's probably still on.
This image just says it all, doesn't it? You see the thief working so hard digging for gold that isn't his and was never there. But in reality, he's just doing Kaveri's chores for her. It's such a great visual because it shows you that the real treasure wasn't some buried gold. It was Kaveri's cleverness, her wit, and her hard work that completely flipped the situation.
And that's the takeaway, right? Just like Aji the grandma tells the kids, she says you don't always need magic. Sometimes all you need is a little bit of luck and a whole lot of pluck. That's just good old-fashioned courage and cleverness to change your circumstances. Okay, let's take a step back and connect the dots here. We've got one story about magic and morality, and another one about human wit and survival. They seem pretty different, right?
But let's see how they actually weave together to show us what this book is really all about.
Yeah, this really breaks it down. Doctor is all about our inner world, right? It's about morality, being kind, and fighting off greed. But Covering the Thief, that's about surviving in the outer world, using your smarts and hard work to get by. So one story shows you how something can be lost because of a moral failure, while the other shows you how you can win just by using what you've got.
And when you put it all together, you really see what's inside Grandma's bag. It's a whole collection of timeless values. We're talking compassion, intelligence, hard work, integrity, the whole shebang. These aren't just cute stories for kids, they're basically a toolkit for life. And at the heart of it all is this beautiful idea of wisdom being passed down through the generations.
And here's the why. The author Sudha Murty tells us herself why this is so important. The stories aren't just for teaching lessons. They're a way to connect. They're meant to be shared, to start conversations, and to build those incredible bonds of love between grandparents, parents, and their kids.
All right, this brings us to our final thought. And I think it's probably the most important takeaway from this entire collection. When you really think about it, that bag is more than just a bag. It's a symbol for the legacy we all carry, right? The lessons, the values, the love that we share, just by telling stories. The real treasure was never the gold or the magic pitcher. It's the wisdom that sticks around long after you've heard the end. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. We live in a world that's just swimming in data and facts, which is great, but are we forgetting the power of a simple story? So think about it. What wisdom do you carry in your bag, and what stories are you forgetting to tell?